I was supposed to go live last night, but I had a lot of things that I was doing. So today's episode, right? Live moments. Just talking about just different variations of things, right? So let's just take for example Squid Games. I know there's lots of people that watch Squid Games, and it's the number one show right now ever on Netflix. You know, the streams are crazy, right? And I thought to myself, it's basically about gambling, you know, the needy, those who are not financially set, or they need more money, or they think that they have great luck. And it's based out of Korea. But knowing, um, after watching all the games, right? After watching all the episodes, and I understood that Squid Game, even though it was in Korea, right? They also have other Squid Games around the world. And so at the end, the main character, he dyed his hair red, symbolizing that more, fury, because he had a connection with the boss, right? The boss that loved playing the old man, the one that he was 001. And as you can see, the winner's number was 456. So all those numbers that you are seeing signify specifically to that person, because before even the the guy that meets you at the train station, before he even meets you, he knows all about you, and so he knows about your habits and everything. And so it's an interesting game because it relates to what's going on right now in the world and how the pandemic changed so many things. And because the virus, COVID 19, affected society in a drastic way, now we're starting to feel the inflation prices, right? In about 3 months, we will see it full out take its course in society financially, right? In terms of food, um, mortgage prices, rent prices, everything else, right, will go up because the cost of transportation. Right now, you see that even gas prices are almost up to $1.50, so $1.42, and that should ring a bell to you that transportation is always important, right? It's the main service. You can have food, but to transfer it also costs a whole lot, and you cannot omit that price. So just think about it. Save, because if you don't have money, you can't purchase, and or gain resources by, being smart, by shopping smart, purchasing, items that will last you months at a time, because this is the season for the wise, right? And if you're wise, you will overcome all these obstacles. And if you're not, you'll be affected drastically in a negative manner, right? So while we're talking, I'm just gonna drink one of my favorite drinks. See what I'm saying? Tonic water. I don't know if you guys know about tonic water, but you see what I'm saying? Why It's good. Tonic water and mixed with soursop. See what I'm saying? Now you might say, what a mix, right? Why would you mix the two? What are the benefits, right? What you get out of it? Well, the thing is, soursop, it's packed in Jamaica herbal tea, right? It's a Caribbean, um, basically, it's made by Caribbean Dreams, right? So the reason why this tea is is very good for you is because in your system, right, there's a lot of mucus, and soursop helps regulate the mucus in your system. And if you are a person that have allergies, right? Regardless, it doesn't matter about allergies. You're a person in general, then you have mucus, and controlling your mucus will help you to breathe better. As you can see, out of all the things that we do, breathing is the most important because that's the only thing you last least. Because if you can't breathe properly, chances are you're going to have difficulty, in your body recovering, in your body um, thoughts, your thought process, in everything that you do, every activity. You won't have the energy for it. So you gotta have combinations that you put together, right? And tonic water, it's sour, but it helps you. I mean, big taste, man. Look at this, right? So let's see. You know what I'm saying? Don't put all of it though. Wait until it cools down. Bubbles, a lot of bubbles, eh? So consume all of it. See, I don't put the tea bag in. I open the tea bag. You can see, right? You open it, put the entire thing inside. So both of them are sour, right? Consume more sour things. It will help you, cleanse your blood, filters your blood. And your blood is your energy, your existence. Take care of your blood. That's all I can say. Okay? So, I mean, how about the NBA? Basketball was a sport created uniquely for, entertainment, but the structure of the sport helps you to balance your life, helps you to make clear and better judgment. And so the NBA has influenced the world in so many dramatic ways, right? Impacted, educated, and now the NBA is faced with if if they don't take the vaccine, right? Because they have rules. If you don't take the vaccine, then You'll miss a lot of home games. Of course, all the home games you can't eat with the team. So the other day I seen Kyrie Irving, right? I was watching TV the other day. I seen Kyrie Irving a video online eating in the parking lot, like parking lot space after the game, right? And so I never thought, like, even in 100 years, that I would see an NBA player eating like outside, like standing outside eating in a parking lot because he can't eat with his team because of the rules that have changed drastically. And so you don't only do that, but you also lose a lot of money not playing the games. You don't play games, you don't get paid. And so that goes back down to finance because a lot of the NBA players, they're not sound financially, right? They do make a lot of money. See what I'm saying? So you make a lot of money, but you have a lot of people around you, you have a lot of expenses. And these expenses, right, creeps up on you, right? Because of course you can afford an accountant, but sometimes some of the accountants are not always honest. And a lot of contracts, you end up spending so much money because, I mean, you see a lot of zeros at the beginning, but because you wear and tear over time, or most of the NBA players get traded from team to team, exceptional LeBron James because he's the face of the NBA, right? He has been for a long time. But for the rest of the players that get moved around from team to team, it's hard for them to secure, you know, a few years at a time contracts. And so a lot of them end up, flying overseas, going to play for, Euro leagues, right? China, wherever they can play that financially, Sebastian Telfair. And, look what he was doing. But then now you see finance have even dragged about like 20 NBA players just recently, like yesterday actually, dragged them into um, into law court, right? They got arrested because they were cheating the system. They were saying that they were getting injured, writing up fake bills, um, so that the NBA can reimburse them back. And none of those took place. So, what would make NBA players do that? It's because they're not financially sound, right? They used to be. But as their career went on, weathering the storm, it's hard to secure a lot of money for the type of player that they are. So, which leads to these kinds of, methods, right? And think about it: 20 NBA players get arrested. Now it's a legal matter, so you have to spend way more money. And so the NBA can fine you on top of all of this. So you can potentially lose a whole year's pay just using it to financially take care of the mistake that you made. And so they have a lot to lose because they financially put themselves, in such, mansions, the latest cars. But it's not about you being able to buy something. It's about you being able to maintain what you bought for the time period because some things that you buy are much more expensive than the other. And so you have to be willing to understand that concept because if you don't, you end up in those 20 NBA players' shoes. right? Situation. They orchestrated a plan. They did it from 2017 to 2020. And so you know that the NBA lost a lot of money due to COVID. So now they're doubling back, looking at a lot of things that is going to help them save money or could, yeah, bring keep their money, right? And so they caught those NBA players. That's a couple million they were taking. So that's bad news for those players and their families because chances are they're the breadwinners of all their families, right? But now things will get worse. But even though COVID took away a lot of jobs, it also created a lot of jobs as well in different ways, right? And so these jobs, right? It's hard to tell if the business of the jobs are even going to stay alive long enough to be able to maintain a steady pay rate because no customers because of rules, segregated society, you can't buy and you can't say, oh, you're going to set up a system where you give to people even if they don't buy because it doesn't work that way. At least, that I know of. But lately things have changed, right? So it could end up being that way where everything is universal and you forfeit everything. Then you get, then they give you, but then they also control what they give because it's only natural, right? So what do you guys think of this society, right? How things have changed, how your lives have changed. What are you doing to improve your life? What are you doing to prepare for the upcoming events that are taking place, right? Because, I mean, we're human beings, so we're unique. We go through trials and tribulations day in and day out, right? And in order for us to have a life worth living, you gotta have the ups and the downs. You gotta have situations that you can help and situations that you, you can get help. You gotta have those things. And so that makes you unique because you are special. You are like a world on its own, each person. And so we come fully intact, right? And so because of this, we live in a world that it's like us because everything, all the elements, everything that the world produces, our body also produces in all variation forms. So if that's what we are doing today, we need to figure out the natural way to evolve. I mean, the robotic way is a more scientific, concrete, faster way because we have stirred far from our natural habitats, because we have created concrete jungles. Look at Manhattan. I don't think in Manhattan, right? Some areas in Manhattan don't even have trees. right? So we have changed a lot, and so which requires us to need a lot. And if we need a lot, then what happens is we start to change certain things that makes us unique from all the other creations that God created. Because ultimately, as powerful as you are, you still have a maker. Your maker makes you special only if you know it or you can connect to your maker. And so today, a lot of people have made certain things their makers without even knowing that they know that God is one, that He sees all, He knows all. But because the focus is living on earth, the focus is striding for your name. You know, what is people going to say about me and my family when I am gone? Or what are they saying about me while I'm alive? Right? Am I a dad that um, others enjoy hearing their name? Or am I a dad that nobody likes to hear his name? And so, with women as well, you know, do they care more about how special we as men should make them feel? Or do they care about the Creator and how the Creator thinks of them? All of these things are things of society, things that people think about behind closed doors, things that takes place every single day. And so, because we know this is reality, and we know that just about everybody thought about who they are, where they come from, why they exist, and of course, occasionally you think about what will happen to you and your family if you as an individual was out of the picture, right? How important do you feel versus how important are you really is to your family, right? Because in this world today, you cannot possibly think that we're alone, there is no other supreme being, you know, and we as a human beings, we're not more powerful than we know, right? Think about it. We spend just a mere fraction of our brain that we use to create all these things to the point now we're seeing Teslas, flying cars, go to Dubai, see flying taxis. Everybody's taking trips because they're loving the lavish life, right? But then remember, you sleep in a bed just like everybody else. You guys could have the nicest relationship with the most unique, beautiful kind of woman or, you know, handsome kind of man, right? You can have the best type of relationship, but you still have to close your eyes different. You still have your own dreams, right? And you still have to have your own peace of mind. And you see, a lot of people don't have that peace of mind because they have not implemented certain practices in their life throughout their life. And I'm not saying you can't lose that practice even if you had it, But do you occasionally self reflect? Because self reflection helps you to improve your life, helps you to regulate your life, helps you to see what has become a distraction to you and what is working, because there's always pros and cons, ups and downs, and the pros and cons define who you are, because that in itself, knowing that, gives you the decision. It makes you decide whether it's the right idea or the wrong idea. And a lot of times love, right? Love changes the answers that is obvious, because it can be blind, right? Like Eve said, it will take over your mind. And of course, love can be you loving your children, you loving your spouse, you loving your companion, right? There's different types of love, but all of those create an action, and those actions, right, decide yay or nay. It's like you're voting in every aspect to either go for or not. And so ultimately, your answers is yes or no, whether it's action or not. But it is either ultimately down to two decisions, right or left. See what I'm saying? So decisions are created based on, you know, what you face, what challenges. Some people worry more about their height, how tall they are. They're concerned about that. And so throughout their whole life, they try to improve their height. Some people with strength, they always have something, you know, whether it's physically, intellectually, spiritually. But these components that you have problems in, are you willing to try to fix it? Do you worry about what others think of you? Because you worrying, right, don't actually help you to go forward. And what they think of you can never be matched, because it could be that's how they are. So you have to trust people for who they are, for what they show you. Because if they show you, then that's who they are. Sometimes emotions do get into the way. And so whatever they are doing, it's based on pressure, right? Because they felt a certain emotions and they decide to use the wrong type of thoughts or thinking to do things. But try to be genuine as much as possible. Try to keep things simple, because people try to complicate everything. See what I'm saying? I'm an artist and I'm a musician, but I try to simplify everything, because if it's too difficult for others to become or to sort of understand what you're doing, then it sort of gets dull, right? A lot of artists, they wear a lot of jewelry, right? A lot of gold, right? And I'm not saying those things are bad, but if you invest your whole career into jewelry, then it's sort of like a waste of time because jewelry is good and all, but you have so much other things. Like, for example, why you have enough money to start your own jewelry business, but instead you buy jewelry to wear, right? And I'm not saying you can't do that, but when you buy abundance of it and that becomes your whole focus, you become a marketer, an advertiser. And so if you spend your entire money to buying a whole bunch of jewelry, the latest cars, all those investments are cool, but they depreciate very fast. And so tomorrow's prices is not the same as today's prices. What that means is if, let's say, you bought a car, and as soon as you bought that car, you left, you paid out full cash. Now, if you leave and you come back, what that means is you can't get the same prices that you spend your money and bought that car. It would depreciate. But if you own your own dealership, now you don't need to buy cars because you own cars. You sell cars. So you can drive your own car, right? And you don't have to worry about the depreciation. But I'm just saying, it benefits you in so many ways because you can sell lots of cars. You would know more about cars and you have greater contacts because of what position you took. And so you can create a whole franchises based on how you think, based on your ideas, your moves, when you move, because it's chess. And so your moves have to be unique, strategic, you know, time worthy, right? So all those things have to take place. Now, you're not going to be perfect in all executions, but you can't quit. You just keep doing it. You get better. And so that shows you that plans have to be put in place. See what I'm saying? Because times have changed. These jewelries that these rappers are buying, right? Not just rappers, but they influence so many people to take their life savings and go and purchase and keep up with them, right? They're sending the wrong messages. I feel like a lot of times it's good to market yourself, but not at the expense of your core capital, right? Your whole life shouldn't be that focus. If you're doing things, you should be able to also create different streams of income in order for you to be able to successfully, right, succeed in your goals that you set to be accomplished. But how do you do it? You know, one of the ways, right, is Wealth Simple. Wealth Simple is an investment firm, of course. It's you know. And so it's very simple to be able to invest in the market, straightforward. Teaches you all these things to be able to trade, and it gives you step by step so you can't go wrong. And so if you invest in Wealth Simple, you'll be able to make money because it's simple, right? And so according to your investment and your timing, right, you'll be able to trade if your attention span is patience. You have to have patience, but you could guarantee that you make a lot of money if you invest in the right time because it's investment. And so be an investor because it's better than always purchasing or buying things at the highest rate. And so if you invest not just with Wealth Simple, but there's so many investment firms, you can then take that money that you earn, the interest, put some away and spend, right? Because you cannot work for other businesses all your life. You have to be an entrepreneur yourself. You have to be a business owner yourself. You know, you earn the respect of Mr. or Ma'am as well, right? So that it shows emphasis that you are also great. You can also provide not just for yourself and your family, but also society and provide for them and their families. And I believe that every business owner is considered, strange or weird at a point in their lives because they're trying to differ from majority of the flock. And so you're going to get those supporters, you're going to get people who are going to turn their back on you, and you're going to get people who are going to be close to you when they see that, you're growing. And so all of these things that you're going to get, you have to realize that they're there, right, to show you that to challenge you or to motivate you. And so that's one of the things, you know what I mean? Right? That a lot of people do. So yo, what do you think of the chat? Hmm? What are you saying? Let me know because this society has so many challenges. We the people have to get better on a daily basis. If you don't improve, you'll be left behind. Jobs have become a lot of people's basically their life, right? And so they forget about their creator. They forget that there is a creator. You see what I'm saying? So tell me, every single day the world changes. Today, people are upset at people who are not vaccinated. And unvaccinated people are also, upset at people that are vaccinated. So what's going on with society? What do you think of the thoughts of society, like the mental state? Because a lot of people's mentality is they're doing something that nobody else can do, or they're better off than everybody else. You see what I'm saying? So people fighting against each other for no reason, right? For just a difference. So what's different about the segregation that was happening to, you know, whites and blacks back in the days? All that segregation that's taking place, and that we came a long way to this point where now COVID has separated people. And so if COVID can separate people, even look, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is what? On the weekend, right? Monday coming. And I know a lot of people, right? They get together. But there's suggestions that says if you're not vaccinated and you have unvaccinated family members, you should not invite them, right? And so that is creating a division in society. So now there is families that are gonna basically make sure they uphold, you know, those recommendations. And there is families that are not going to. But that's how society works. And so a lot of people need to recognize that we are being separated for things that we should not be separated for because we're much more smarter than that. It's like a school, play school kind of trick, right? Oh, we have this. Oh, we have this. You're different than this person, right? And so now there's a lot of chaos in society, right? So tell me, the other day I seen on the news there was this lady, New York City, right? So the lady is waiting for a train, and the train is coming. So there's a next lady. That next lady must have had problems with this lady. And so because of COVID, so lady tried to push the next lady in front of the train. Luckily, the lady didn't like fall over. So the train only hit her hand and broke her hand. And she suffered minor injury, and then the next lady is basically arrested for attempted murder because it's it's direct. So look at all the frustration that's taking place. And not just that. Look at all the chaos with the floods that's happening, all the hurricanes, all the fires in California. So think about it. If all of these things are taking place and new things, disasters, locusts, like all kinds of like bugs, those big locust bugs that eat crops, right? Taking over Kenya, eating all their crops, right? Destroying farmers' crops. All of these things are taking place month after month, faster and faster. Rules are being changed. Today is this, next day is that. People protesting in Tim Hortons, right? Telling me Tim Hortons is refusing service, obviously, because of the virus. So, for sure, it's the last days because only the last days would people fight over things that they shouldn't fight over, even though they have abundance. Only the last days that there's famine, you know, that it's a drastic famine that they can't trust each other. People can't trust each other. People don't sort of, are weighing each other based on circumstances. Weighing each other based on what are your thoughts? What are you doing? What have you done? Right? And so it goes down to this this situation with COVID. And so that changed a lot of people. You know, the fact that activities have slowed down. right? All of these things are telling people that the world is not like the compassion for the world that people used to have for each other. It's not there anymore, or it's little to none. And so people, more and more people have become selfish in their ways. You know what I mean? And so all of these things, right, shows that who is important to you is either your job or, you know, your creator. But your career, right, is something you worked all your life for, something that, you educated to basically support yourself and support your family. So all these things that you have done, if your creator say to you, drop it and follow me, would you do that? Or do you even have a connection with your creator? You see what I'm saying? Because nobody has the right to actually tell you what to do. Unless, when you're a kid, your parents tell you what you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you see what I'm saying? A lot of people will say they have set their self in a system that they're comfortable. And so because of that, they want to basically, you know, say that. But your creator gave you the life that you have, you know? And at the end of the day, right, the mortgage that you have, right, you have to be able to convince your maker. You see what I'm saying? Because, yes, God knows that you have to also live, you have to do things, and that. You see what I'm saying? Because people, you can have all those things and you could lose them too. So, is it worth your soul? Because your soul is key to your existence. So, at the end of the day, the decision has to be solely with you and, I mean, your family members, those who are close to you, because it's really important that in whatever direction you take it at full force, right? Because there's people that have, you know, they take a direction and then they get confused or they don't want to, but you have to either go right hard or left hard. But regardless, you have to go in that direction. And a lot of people, yes, they do have a lot of mortgages to pay. You see what I'm saying? Not just mortgages, businesses to run, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's a method that is created because you see, there's a lot of things that what warnings was given, but people grow, right? And so when you grow, there's a lot of things that you have to, click with. You have to basically grow with. And so living is a main purpose. What to do, how to do it. You know what I mean? When to do it. Because you need to live. And you need to live to a standard. And so living to a standard makes a lot of decisions for a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many people that have properties out there that have vowed to say, even though I have a lot of properties, they're willing to let it go if that's gonna save their soul. So it's a decision that you really have to make based on you and what is important to you, how important the life is to you, what is important in the life for you. Because we're in a vessel, we're in a shell. You know what I mean? Poverty is something that every human don't like. See what I'm saying? But your soul is more important than the state you're in at certain times. Because if you think about it, all we're doing right now is what? If you're working, you're working. If you're a business owner, basically you're working in various, right? After that, you get paid, and then you take care of your living, how you're gonna eat, where you're gonna sleep, right? Of course, your means of transportation. So you do all those things, right? But then what happens after? If the world ends, would you be able to go to work again, right? The way the things are going. Because New World Order is something that is there. Exactly. So that's the problem, you know? So a lot of times, right, people are looking at it like this. The super wealthy, which is the 1% of the world, all of them have their plans, right? They have their plans. And so their focus is not about assets and resources because they're above that, they're past that, you know? They're talking about territory, ownership of power, right? How much people can they have authority, full blown authority over, that they can use them however they want, right? Based on the means of the businesses or the knowledge they have influence on society, they gain a certain trust level, and so they're able to get access to these positions. So wisdom should be used drastically in every move that you do. And so the world has many, many things. See what I'm saying? And if you think about it, we the people don't own anything. We just occupy the space for about 30,000 days. And if you're above 30,000, then you're lucky. Very few of us gets past 30,000 days. And so if we are getting those and we break it down every single day, chances of us living to do more than, you know, basic stuff it's hard because there's people that make millions and millions of dollars, but they don't get the chance to spend it. Right? Some are not even healthy enough to spend it. And now, right now, you have money, but it's just gonna be in the bank. Even interest is growing on it. After, if you're gonna take it out, you're gonna do one of the four things: go buy something to eat. You're gonna go buy somewhere to live, right? Or you're gonna drive, so you're gonna buy a car. You know what I mean? So all those things are expenses. The joy that used to be of the world, the compassion that people used to show each other back in the days, that is completely wiped out. So all those things are gone. And so now you see that even if you own so much, you see what I'm saying? even if you own so much, right? At the end of the day, right, people can only use everything that they buy one at a time. How much watches, how much chains, how much houses can you stay at a time? One house at a time. How much bed can you sleep on at a time? One. So if you complicate your life, right? I'm not saying having certain things is not, but abundance of it is not really necessary unless you're helping a lot of people. But for yourself, it just you need to simplify because you only have 30,000 plus days to live. Maximum 35, 38,000 days. And so, based on the rate of society and how things are happening drastically to society and how the environment is changing so fast, we could see a very fast rate in decreasing of population. You see what I'm saying? So, think about it. Why people have to work and basically buy a mortgage. Now, a mortgage is a representation of more. So, you have abundance, right, of things that some of them you're never going to use. You're too busy, but you just purchased it because what? Maybe you're trying to keep your money in certain things so that your money, if it's in real estate, it's hard to depreciate. But if enough people, right, certain job sectors cannot survive to be able to even renew their mortgages, right? Certain businesses have to cut down drastically, which means less and less people will be needed to work. And even though other businesses might say, oh, the job rate for asking a lot of people to come to work is high, but the consistent rate for the job to be steady is absolutely low because of the circulation of people. And so if it was even a hard problem when there was 100% of the people, now it's 60% of the people. Now you cut it down because you separated how people purchase. And so now it's easier or it's becoming easier to purchase things online. And so we have got accustomed to that, especially the past 2.5 plus years. We have got accustomed to that, especially in those times. And so if that's what's happening to us, then obviously they're going to implement more robots. See what I'm saying? More robots. And if they implement more robots, then what? What's going to happen? They need less people. They need less people. What is going to happen to the people? They're going to do squid games. I'm telling you. And if they're not already doing it in the world, they will. They'll do games and challenges because gambling is something that people always tries to use, right? Because in Squid Games, it's an offer at the beginning that is too good to lose. Just to flip a card, in the front way or back way, and you get, $10,000 or something. So you imagine somebody that needs money, how long they would have to work to get that money. That it's a chance to win that in an instant. And so a lot of those people felt that. That's why they took that and they went because it's easy money. So they thought, but they didn't know that they only need one survivor. And so everybody that went, they all died except for four, five, six. And so he ended up going. And, there's more sequels because it's very interesting. And you see, people are glued to it because people are finding a connection with with Squid Games. And so what this is telling you is systematically they can prepare you for any type of culture, whether it's good or bad, based on what they show you, based on what you think is cool, what is being marketed to you. And so now the decision is, you know, it's up to you. That's what I'm saying, right? So, I mean, think about it. The goal is not to make as much money as possible. You see what I'm saying? If you're okay with a certain margin, with a simple way of living, I suggest you take that route because other ways require you to spend a lot. Other ways takes away from others. Some people's jobs can take away from their relationship, right? Their life. The world is short, but what to do with it? A lot of these things or a lot of these professions that people get into, right? What happens is they give them such a long period of time to qualify to be able to do these things. I think that they should short like cut it shorter so that they will have a lot more time. Do you see what I'm saying? To be able to live their life. Because if you break it down, 30,000 days comes very quick. You see what I'm saying? And so if we get to do a lot of things at a younger age, right? Just that, we'll be able to do things faster. Like, for example, how we raise children. If we raise them in a more mature way, they'll be able to walk and talk and do things faster. Same as if we started school earlier, right? We'll be able to know much more faster since the brain works faster when you're younger. And so if we're supercomputers when we're younger and we take so long to start learning the important things, then what happens is it takes away from our lifeline because when we're at a certain point in our lives, that's when we start to face more responsibilities or we're required to do more things. And so sometimes it takes away from our focus on what we're trying to be. So it gives us setbacks. And so if these setbacks, right, are always happening, then we will find it very hard to do things. So that's what I'm saying, right? Life cannot be so, like it's like we're tied up. Okay, you get up, you have to go to school, but then the school rate takes about more than a quarter of your life because you're gonna be, let's say, in your career in your early 20s. You see what I'm saying? Early 20s, and when you start doing that, you're not gonna start at the top of your career. You're gonna start at the bottom of your career, and so by the time you get to the top, you're gonna give yourself in an average 10 years, depending on what kind of company you're working for or what kind of organization. And so all of those things requires you to work, 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 work. So by the time you start enjoying yourself, you're gonna be like 45 to 50. right? When you actually are obtaining serious money. And so remember, time is what they're taking. And so they're paying you for your time, right? And obviously the impact of your time. So if they're paying you for those things, then they require you to be physically present. But you are also making money. And when you make the money, where do you put it? You're going to put it in the bank. Now, the bank is happy because the longer you're at work and the more you work, the better it is for them because you're either going to pay your mortgage, right? You're going to pay your phone bills, right? You see what I'm saying? So you're doing all those things on top of that, and you're going to save because you're going to save for the future. And so what is the bank doing? They are just simply the middleman that basically, protect your money. They keep it there. You see what I'm saying? And so when you do those things, you take away from your lifeline. And so the bank is reaping your benefits because they can make money way faster than you can spend it. And so what happens is you financially, right, lose out because your money, right? Hold on. Your money allows you to be able to do things, but you have to go and earn the money. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that, they think billionaires, why aren't they, on the social media, right? Why is it that, that's a distraction and it keeps them away? But they own the social media. And believe me, they're on there because if they're not on there, right, they won't know what's going on. But you just don't know that they're on there because think about it, they own all those platforms. Facebook lost what, $7 billion one day, right? So how did he tell us about these things? How did he tell us? He told us through social media. And so you have to be aware that that is their playground. Nobody is too big for social media. Why? Because it directly pitches out to the world. And so who doesn't want to have the world's attention? You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. A lot of people, right, don't understand how it works, right? There's billionaires that their interest of others is for them to make mistakes because when they make mistakes, their correction is their service. And so you have to understand that they even have, like, for example, artists, right, that are what's it called, robotics, you know? So robotics, take this in. These robotics create music and they can perform. And so and they could speak and rap and do all these things, but they're just AIs, robots. And so you tell me, as fast as our technology is going, right? How powerful our technology is. Eventually, you're going to have artist robots that are better than human robots. And so they're going to wind up, you see what I'm saying? They're going to wind up getting what? Getting all the money come to them. Because if you do, what's it called? Like producing music, you have to understand that the hertz, you see, the hertz changes your mind. It can either put you in a good mood or a bad mood. And who better can do this other than AIs? Because they study your actions, they study your everything, right? Your faults, your likes. And so they study your words. And the more they're vivid, the better it is for them. So they improve based on your movements, whether it's good or bad. And so that's the type of technology that they have. So no job is really safe. You know, think about it. In the medical field, do they not have robots that do surgeries? They do, right? In Amazon, they have robots that organize the warehouse. In Japan, they have places where you go that nobody's there. You're there. And based on the technology, when you go and come, whatever you pick and go shopping with, you buy, you leave, and through the connectivity of your credit card or debit card, it pays for it. And so that is preparing you for a selfless society. You see what I'm saying? So it's preparing you for a selfless society. And that shows you, it should tell you, right? It should tell you that we are living in a time of vast change. Whether you think it's good, whether you think it's bad, you're going to get the results that you mainly pay attention to. So that's what I'm saying. Medical field, they have technology that is doing surgeries. Now, tell me, why would they have that? Then they train surgeons for years going to medical school, right? And Amazon, what they have? Hold on. See what I'm saying? In Amazon, they have machines. They even have what was it? Those robots that helps people. So it's like a house robot, like a small robotic servant. So it'll get your juice for you. It will, you know, show some videos and emojis. It will give you up to date. It can control all the your house tools and materials. And so that's what it's doing. So they're slowly replacing jobs or careers that humans used to even go years and study, and they're replacing them. So now in Canada, our pension is what, 65 years old. So when you're 65, you can retire, but I think you probably have to put in like what, about 65 years of work. You see what I'm saying? So so at the end of the day, right? It's tonic water, you know? You have to drink the tonic water and some sour sap because you have to mix it. Because you see, tonic water, you know the benefits of tonic water. It helps you, man. So at the end of the day, you have to understand that the changes that take place is warning signs for things that they already showed us, right? They showed us this in movies, in TV shows. They showed us in history, in discovery, right? Now you see the technology. Now you see the change. Right now, people want to travel, but by the end of November, there's strict guidelines on how you're going to travel. And so it's going to become the same around the world. So are you going to be happy with you traveling, but you having to go through so much things? You see what I'm saying? So think about it. How can people, right, change, right? What are the things that have to be put in place? Is people's freedom being taken from them? Because your freedom is what truly brings you peace. You traveling, you going places, you acquiring so many things. If you don't have the freedom to be able to enjoy it, then what's the reason? What's the purpose? Because when you're 70, 80 years old, what are you going to do? Right? You see what I'm saying? What are you going to do when you're that age? You can't enjoy anything. You need fully health measures, right? Doesn't matter what profession you took. Father time is father time. It'll affect you. And so you don't have enough time. But the financial institution have taken your money and invested it in many ways. Of course, they have your money there for you. But they don't need to borrow money because you give them money, right? So this is a systematic system that they have created. And for you, you have to put as much, you know, as much freedom that you have left, which is your privacy, right? Because, I mean, if you don't have privacy, then anything you do is out of vain. You don't really like it, you know? You just do it because you feel like you need to do it. You don't do it because you want to do it or you enjoy doing it. And they say, do the job you love. See what I'm saying? But you see, social media, if you use it or you create it the right way, what's going to happen? You're going to say, well, how come some people make a lot of money from that? And some people are learning ways, right? And it takes time, of course, and ideas. But simplify the way you do things. Why? Then it's easy. You see what I'm saying? It's easy for what? People. It's easy for you to be able to do things, on your own will, on your own account. Because right now, there are so many changes that have taken place. There's so many laws that have been passed in a matter of 24 hours. And in 24 hours, these laws pass and nobody's saying much, or you don't even have time to push back. Some of the laws, they have like books, big, big books, because they're going to write every single part of the law to you. See what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, you have to understand that you gotta have a plan in place. See what I'm saying? If you have a plan in place, you will succeed in achieving peace. Because your accomplishment is really to connect with your maker. That is your only journey. You know, I don't think God will say, well, you did this job, or you did this, or you did that, if you don't know Him. You see what I'm saying? Because right now, only our Creator can give us true answers. All these things are controlled, right? But it's what you use it for. What is your purpose? Because before you had to go through so many things, be a producer, like, go to acting school and all of these things. But then there was IT specialists that created these apps. And now these apps are worldwide, and they're the biggest platforms, and everybody's on there. All sectors are on this, right? So nobody shies away from it. So it goes down to how you use it. Because think about it, no matter what, the truth is there. Whoever has the courage to talk about the truth is 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 winning, because guess what? They care about the truth. They care about telling the truth. You see what I'm saying? So people care about the truth. So if you talk about the truth and it gets censored, right? At least you know from your heart that you're doing the right thing. Because we cannot live in a society where everybody is not true to themselves, or they're not willing to be true to society to the best of their knowledge, because or else nothing will function. Think about it. There's people that are taking advantage of the mask mandate. You see what I'm saying? They're literally going in bunches, right? Going to malls, going to stores, and grabbing very expensive stores, you know, and grabbing as much things as they can, and then they're running out. And based on the stolen steel policy, you as an employee, you can't grab nobody, you can't do anything. You have to let the matter take place and let the law handle it. But police is not always in the mall, right? Mall police is, it's the mall. So they're not going to be there specifically most of the time. So this is like they're grabbing and running. And this is a culture that they're they're trying to make it cool. And so they're forgetting they're slowly destroying the businesses, because the insurance company might be tired of those businesses that always have complaints of them just of robbery and stealing. Or if they're not tired, they're going to double their insurance on them to financially secure them. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we we sort of shy away from certain things that are influencing our culture, right? And they think it's cool. So you taking it, you're gonna probably take from families' lives, right? Some people that have tried to stop them have gotten fired. And so think about it. You're in a store. People come, they take a whole bunch of stuff, and they run out. How do you feel if they did that every other day for 2 months? Would you be able to stay in business? You wouldn't. And so that culture has gone up more, right? Because of the mass mandate. And it has become dangerous in some ways, because, I mean, think about it. Mass is known for those who wear masks, right? Robbery. And so, even though it's for medical reasons, even though it's for the change of times, mask can be used for a negative purpose. And so those who don't care, or they feel hungry, or they feel entitled to things that don't belong to them, they're gonna what? Push. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna push. So society is different now. You know, be safe. Take care of you and your family. It's very important, right? Of course, as a male, there's sacrifices that men make, right? Your plan is ultimately going to decide on what happens tomorrow, right? Because things change, and if things are changing, then it is up to you to be wise on the movements so you can adapt to the times. You know what I mean? Because it's really necessary. It is. See what I'm saying? It's very necessary. That's how the life is. I'm telling you. Look at school, right? All these kids, their social life has been diminished. And they need a social life in order for you as a kid to grow. You can't say that that's not it. You have to. See what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta do what you have to do still. Because think about it. You're created for a reason, for a purpose. You have to fulfill the purpose, whatever you feel that purpose is. Because it's key to tomorrow's life. It's key to your future, your existence on this earth. But I believe that, even when you die, right, you still have a next journey. And so we are all created similar, but we came in different environments differently. And so our story starts from the beginning of time to now because there's so many mysteries in the world. See what I'm saying? Whether we understand it or not, there's so many mysteries. And the main mystery is peace because peace gives you a fulfillment. And so that is anything that you do, the peace is what you need in whatever you're doing. If you feel peaceful, then most of the time, right, you're doing the right thing because that's how it is. Everybody strives for that. You could have millions of dollars, don't have peace at home, not peace at your work, not peace with your health, you know, you're not gonna enjoy yourself. And so, you know, right, the joy that it brings you, right, gives you the reason to stay alive because you must be alive or stay alive because for a strong reason. And you always have to verify these strong reasons so that you can be, you know, you can be unique. If you don't, you lose out. See what I'm saying? You lose out in many ways. I'm telling you, work is something, right? Because life has so many ups and downs. You know what I mean? Oh, look out for my podcast special. You see what I'm saying? The latest episode 30. It's available on Spotify. And, for those who do podcasting, it's a lot easier to just talk because, I mean, just talk about the knowledge that you know. because there's gonna be people who can relate to you. That's how it works. You, if you have your audio properly and you talk with confidence, you can make so many episodes. And in a way, when people are listening to you, or they hear you when you play it for them, or if they decide to play it, they can learn something from it. You know, you never know who can listen and who can learn from what you have said. And so they can use it to better their lives and also use it as a life lesson to be able to also change others' perspective of what they're going through because it's always knowledge, right? If you're young and you grow up around your parents, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, they're going to teach you things that you're going to take throughout your life. And those things that they're going to teach you, right? Some you're going to take and some you might not take. And some you're going to wish you listen and some you're going to wish you didn't listen to. But all of those are all variations of things that you're exposed to. And it's up to you to use them properly so that it's not just only for you, for your self betterment, but it's also for maybe your young ones, maybe a stranger, maybe a situation that vastly comes your way. All of those things are examples of life in a whole and what your existence should be like. Because life lessons, experiences, right? As you can see, you need experience in order for people to do things. So, at the end of the day, it's all about, you see what I'm saying? It's all about expressing your abilities, expressing your knowledge, trying to give helpful information to others so that they can use it in their day to day life. Because we are a robot, our mind is a computer. And so our mind is able to grasp anything that is being taught in a proper way, in an understanding way, because others, everybody learn different. So you got to make sure that you try to learn as much as possible. And everybody can teach you, doesn't matter what age. Nobody is too grown to know. See what I'm saying? Even if you're old or older and you're set in your ways, you can still learn, right? And I believe knowledge is it comes to you at certain times to sort of test you, you know? It's either to help you or to make you look at things in a different perspective, whether it's positive or negative, it's still there. And so what we decide to do is what makes us have peace. What we know or what we're exposed to is what helps us to obtain, success. Helps us to have a purpose, helps us to feel good or feel bad. You see what I'm saying? So think about what I have said. You see what I'm saying? I have music as well, right? Created jazz album, rock and roll. It's available on iTunes. You know, can purchase it. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, see your mind, right, can be programmed, but it being programmed in what way? In a good way or a bad way? Because of course, people can put things into place so that what you're exposed to, what you hear, you know, all those things that you do, that is what's supposed to basically give you an idea of what you care about, what you don't care about, what you see is important. You see what I'm saying? It affects everything that you do. Think about it. At school, right? When you're young, whatever your parents buy for you is what you take. You don't really care. You see what I'm saying? So, whatever your parents buy is what you wear. You go to school until you start to notice name brand. Oh, what is good quality? This is not good quality. This is in and this is not in. So, all the fashion trends, all the sports that you play, right? Even the the type of women to talk to, the type of guys that women talk to, all of those is shaped by the things that people think is cool. You see what I'm saying? And so growing up, you start to notice that because some people weren't exposed to this technology. So they grew up with real concrete relationship. They actually go knock on people's door. See what I'm saying? They had to go and knock on people's door to play. So you tell me now, right? You don't. You're just on the computer, boom, 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 right? You'll be able to see anybody virtually around the world. You're able to communicate, right? Anytime based on the technology you have. So things have changed where culture now is more people don't even notice people around them. They're more focused on the technology that they have, their phones, their headphones. They're listening to music or they're on their phones on social media, talking to people, right? So they have their head down in their technology, right, wherever they are, and so that causes even accidents. Sometimes it causes a lot of um, deterioration in emotional stability because people have emotionally invested their entire um, focus on a device in front of them, right? Why? Because it's the graphics are cool. The fact that you can connect to people around the world, the need to have people around you to notice who you are. All of those things matter to people, right? That shapes and defines relationships. It shapes and defines what you invest your money in. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. So the clothes that you wear, right? The areas you live at, the stores you go to, the products that you consume. You see what I'm saying? All of those things. How do you know about them, right? How much people know what the ingredients of the packages that they're purchasing says, right? Or understand the certain terminologies. How many people understand that? Or they think it's cool, right? How much people know the balance of their body, like the sugar levels, how why they shouldn't what's it called invest in consuming so many sugary products. You see what I'm saying? All those things. So think about it. Life has changed. What are you doing to impact the world? What are you doing to help your neighbors? Right? Not just your neighbor, but you know, right? So, in saying that, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna head out. See what I'm saying? It's Friday. It's a nice day outside. Those of you guys working, you know what I mean? Have a safe drive home. And talk to you guys soon. Bye now.